Hello and welcome back. Now, in the last video we talked about this expanded table concept, and we had a look at this very interesting Excel file, and we basically removed the filter from the employees table, but we have seen that this doesn't matter because if we use any column from another table, could be suppliers table, or in our case it was the year column from the dates table, we still affect the orders table, as we've seen an example in here, right? So this filter still works. Now, what if you want to remove any filters? Then we can simply refer to the all again, but instead of referring to any of those tables, like the employees table here, or the country table, or the dates table, what we do instead is we're referring to the orders table. So the biggest table we have, because if we say the all in combination with the complete or the biggest table, the orders table, this means that no matter what kind of filter gets applied, from employees table, suppliers table, or the dates table, or any other kind of table we connect to the model, it doesn't matter because we simply remove all filters which might be applied in the orders table. And we can easily do this if we go back to the model and say for our formula, we can refer to one we have already created. So let's actually make this table smaller here, go to the orders table, and what we did in here, we used the total employee sales. So we can actually refer to this measure here and copy it completely, Control C to copy it, so you don't need to rewrite the formula if you don't want to. And then you can simply create the measure, right click on orders table, new measure, and then we paste this inside. Just a second, there it is, and say employees table, say all employees table, name this for all now, and let's say actually all orders table, okay, all sales orders table, like that. And then say calculate total sales, and instead of referring to employees table or the suppliers table or the dates table, which only remove the context from the specific table, we simply remove any kind of filter context, which simply means we are referring to the biggest table we have, and this would be our orders table, like that. And if we do this and press enter and evaluate this, let's actually go into, scroll down, there it is, all up there. If we tick here our table we currently have, and now if I place the all sales order table, so the measure inside, now you can see we got the total amount of sales here for each entry. So let me click this, make this a little bigger, and we see that now not only the employee name as a filter is completely ignored, but also any external filter like the year from the dates table filter is also ignored. So all tables which are connected are ignored, so the suppliers table would be exactly the same, as you can see here, and you get the total amount of sales. Okay, so what if, let's get a little bit further, let's say what if you want to actually ignore all the filters from the model beside maybe a specific column for whatever reason, and there might be several reasons for that, but you want to apply still one filter. Let's say in our case I have, in this case, various categories, and I want to remove all the filters from the model, but I want to keep one filter intact. I want to be able to filter based on my selection of the categories, but all other filters should be ignored. To do this, we can use another function in combination with calculate, so we can refer to the so-called all except function. So let's try that. Let's actually at first maybe create a slicer. So we have this already, tick on the category, and then swap this to a slicer in here, and also increase the size so we can see that better. Let's go in here and tick here maybe the 15, right? Okay. So we're good to go. And make this also bigger, and I think this is a little too big. Make this smaller, we don't need that much space. Okay, so here we got our categories, and of course we can tick this. Currently all get filtered. Beside this, of course, all orders still doesn't get filtered because this simply removes all the filters we have in the complete model. So what we want is, we want a measure which ignores, in this case for instance, the employee names, which also ignores here the countries, which ignores the external filter, like for instance from the year, but which still considers this filter we apply here. So let's do that. Let's actually right click on the orders table and create a new measure. So here we go, there's our measure, and then say this will be our total sales except in this case category. Okay, like that is equal to. And let's go to a new line, shift enter, and then I say here I'd like to actually calculate something. Remember, we need to definitely modify the filter context. And whenever this is the case, we need to have the calculate function. We need the expression. So here I will be using total sales. And then I need a filter context. And this filter context now is using the all. And you can see there's an all function. And there's also an all except function. So all except, we're choosing this function here. And then we can give it a table here. Now the table itself, from where actually our filter, which we still want to take into account, comes from, is the orders table in this case. And from the orders table, the column name is the category. Here we go. Now I can close this parenthesis, and you can read again. I always encourage you to read through the explanation here. So it returns all the rows in a table except for those rows that are affected by the specific column filters. And that is exactly what it does. So it removes all the filters from the orders table, but it keeps the filters we specify here. So here you have column name 1, but of course you can put in a comma here, and then you can refer to column name 2 and so on, if you want to add several columns which you still want to keep into account when you filter. For now, I need only one. I close parenthesis here, and then I also need to close the calculate function. Now I press enter, and I got my total sales except category. So far so good. And now if I also add this to my table, so let's say to this table as well as to this table, let's do it to both of them. Where is it? Simply search for except. So except, here we go. I can take this option here. So I got it in here. And I also select this table and also take the option here to have it in here as well. Let me drag this a little bit to the side and make this a little bit bigger so we can see that. So you see that this measure itself, so sales except the category, is not affected by the employee name. That's why we see the same value here. It is not affected by the office country. That's why we see the same value here. And also it's not affected by the year, because I can select any kind of year and nothing changes here as well as here. But what if I now choose one of the categories? So let's say I'd like to see cookies. I click on cookies, and we see that the total sales except category is actually affecting by this, right? So we can see here 101,000, which is repeating here for all the employees as well as for the office countries. So that means even though we remove any kind of external filter context, because we used here the all except and referring to this specific column, this means that the context from the column itself, in this case desserts, drinks and so on, what we select is still applied. The filter is applied and it works properly, exactly what we want, okay? So that's how you can use the all except function in combination with calculate. So we have used now the all function, we use the all selected function, and we use here the all except function. So these are all modifiers which are often used in combination with calculate, and hopefully now you understood what they do and how they work. So thanks a lot for watching, and hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.